They thought you'd always be there, didn't they? They got comfortable assuming your kindness, patience, and loyalty with things they could just expect forever. But here's the hard truth. People only truly see what they've lost after it's gone. We're often surrounded by those who take our time, our energy, even our love for granted, and we quietly endure, hoping they'll finally understand what they have in us. But what if the real path to your worth is not in their hands, but in the power of stepping away? Today, we're diving deep into a life-changing perspective rooted in Stoicism, the profound strength of silence and distance. This is more than just a strategy for self-respect. This is about taking back control of your own peace and letting others feel the weight of what they once took for granted. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others, only ourselves. By embracing this philosophy, we gain a freedom that words, arguments, or pleas can't offer. Think of it this way. When you decide to step back completely, something remarkable happens. They begin to notice the emptiness, the missing presence that was always there to lift them up or make things easier. Your silence becomes a force stronger than words, one that speaks volumes and changes the dynamic completely. This isn't about playing games. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful way to make someone value you is to let them experience life without you. So if you're ready to understand why this act of stepping back works so profoundly, if you're ready to reclaim your energy and make them realize just what they lost, stick around. We're going to uncover the 9 powerful shifts they feel when you simply disappear. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see that valuing yourself, embracing your own worth, and stepping back isn't just empowering, it's essential. Let's get into it. This is the first sharp pang they experience when you decide to step back. It's that immediate jolt, the kind of shock that hits when the predictable becomes suddenly unpredictable. When you've always been the anchor, the dependable one, their abrupt realization that you're not there anymore sends a wave of discomfort that's hard to ignore. But why does this matter? Because it's the first sign that they've started to recognize your value, only through the lens of your absence. Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-sufficiency, the idea that our own worth and peace should never hinge on others' perceptions or actions. When you choose to disappear, even if it's temporary, it serves as a crucial reminder of this lesson. You're not just stepping back, you're setting boundaries. You're showing that you respect yourself enough not to be taken for granted. The silence you leave behind is not a void you've created out of spite. It's a space for reflection, both for you and for them. This rejection they feel is powerful because it breaks the usual narrative. They are forced to confront the possibility that they might have lost something invaluable. It shakes their normalcy, disrupts their expectations, and leaves them with a sense of loss that they didn't anticipate. This isn't just about missing the convenience of your presence. It's about realizing that the person who always supported them, listened to them, and stood by them might no longer be around. And here lies the power of Stoic philosophy. By managing your responses and choosing where to invest your emotions and energy, you take back control of your life. In Stoicism, there's a concept called the dichotomy of control, which teaches us to differentiate between what we can control and what we cannot. You cannot control how others value you, but you can control how much of yourself you're willing to give. This phase of rejection is crucial. It's where they learn that your presence is not a given, but a privilege. When they feel this sting of rejection, it's a profound moment for self-realization, not just for them, but for you too. It reaffirms that stepping back isn't about causing pain. It's about reclaiming your dignity. It's about teaching, through absence, what you perhaps couldn't through presence, that you are an individual of worth. And just like the Stoics uphold, your inner equanimity and your choice to walk away are far stronger than standing by, waiting to be appreciated. This isn't just about not seeing you around. It's about the sudden absence of your energy, your laughter, the reassuring presence that once filled their days with light and warmth. This emptiness is palpable, like walking into a room where a bright light has been switched off, leaving behind only shadows of what was. It's in this silence that they start to truly understand the depth of what you contributed to their life, often taken for granted until it's no longer there. Stoicism introduces us to the concept of appreciating what we have while we have it, not in its absence. This is derived from the practice of negative visualization, a technique where you periodically envision losing things you value. This isn't to breed pessimism, but to foster a deeper appreciation for them and to temper the emotional distress if they were indeed lost. When you withdraw yourself from their life, it's as if you've activated this visualization for them, but in a direct, practical form. They are now faced with a stark reality, a glimpse of what life is like without your contributions, which can often feel like a cold wake-up call. This phase of emptiness is critical because it mirrors the void that absence of philosophy or deeper values can leave in one's life. Just as a life devoid of thoughtful reflection feels shallow, so does their life now feel bereft without you. It's a stark reminder that the connections which truly matter are those that nourish us, not just those that comfort us on the surface. In your absence, they confront the emotional and perhaps intellectual emptiness that comes from not having appreciated a good thing until it's gone. The emptiness they experience is a profound teacher. It teaches about value, the value not just of a person, but of the qualities that person brings into our lives. For you, stepping back is not a loss, but a reassertion of self-worth, and an exercise in establishing boundaries, very much in line with Stoic principles. You control your presence, your participation, and through this control, you teach them about the essential Stoic virtue of self-sufficiency. You demonstrate that while companionship is valuable, reliance on others for personal value and happiness is not the path to true contentment. As they grapple with this emptiness, they learn one of life's critical lessons, the importance of valuing what and who we have when we have it. This stage of missing you serves not just as a period of longing, but as a crucial period of growth and understanding. It is an opportunity for them to fill the void, not with your return, but with their own personal development, aligning more closely with Stoic ideals of internal fulfillment and the pursuit of virtue over dependency. As the initial shock of rejection and the pangs of emptiness begin to settle, a new emotion starts to take hold, overwhelming curiosity. This isn't just about wondering where you are or what you're doing. It's a deeper, more consuming need to understand why. Why have you decided to step back? What led to this drastic change? Their mind races with questions, each unanswered query amplifying their need to know. This curiosity becomes a relentless force, driving them to reflect on every interaction, every conversation, and every moment that might have precipitated your departure. In Stoicism, curiosity isn't just about seeking answers. It's about understanding the cause and effect of our actions and the natural consequences that follow. The Stoics encourage us to examine our lives and actions critically. This helps in cultivating a profound understanding of our roles in the lives of others, and more importantly, their roles in ours. When you remove yourself from their daily life, you set in motion a process of reflection that is essential for personal growth. It's a practical application of Stoic thought. By stepping back, you force them to confront not just the reality of your absence, but the reasons behind it, which often points back to their actions or inactions. This curiosity also leads them to a greater appreciation of your value. They start to realize the significance of your presence, not just in moments of joy, but in everyday interactions that they might have previously overlooked. Each memory, each shared experience comes under scrutiny, not just as lost moments, but as lessons on what they might have done differently. This introspective journey is what Stoicism aims to provoke. It's about looking inward and finding out how one's own virtues and vices contributed to the current state of affairs. Furthermore, this overwhelming curiosity often pushes them towards a better understanding of Stoic acceptance. They begin to learn that some things, like your decision to step away, are beyond their control, and that wisdom lies in recognizing and accepting this fact rather than fighting it. This acceptance doesn't come easily. It's often a struggle against one's desires and fears, but it's a critical step towards achieving the Stoic ideal of tranquility. Once curiosity has opened the door, deep self-reflection walks through it. This isn't a shallow pondering. It's a profound, sometimes uncomfortable dive into their own behaviors, decisions, and the part they played in your decision to step back. They begin to question not just specific incidents, but their overall approach to the relationship. Did they take your presence for granted? Did they ignore signs that you were unhappy or feeling undervalued? This phase of self-reflection is critical because it moves beyond the surface level of missing what is gone to understanding why it left in the first place. Stoicism teaches us that wisdom comes from within, and that true insight is a result of rigorous self-examination. This practice, known as the examination of one's conscience in Stoic philosophy, encourages individuals to reflect at the end of each day, not just on what happened, but on how they responded to these events and how they could improve. When you step away, it forces them into a state of forced introspection, a real-time examination of conscience over a longer and more impactful scale than daily reflections. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing not just the face, but the mind and spirit behind it. This deep self-reflection serves as a catalyst for personal growth. It's uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. As they sift through their memories and actions, they are likely to encounter regrets and missteps. However, the goal of this reflection isn't to dwell on these negatives, but to learn from them. Stoicism doesn't just teach acceptance of what we cannot change, it encourages proactive change of what we can control. They start to see how their actions or inactions may have contributed to your withdrawal, and in doing so, they begin to see the potential for change, for better ways of engaging with those they care about in the future. Moreover, this self-reflection often leads to a renewed appreciation for your qualities and the dynamics you brought to the relationship. They realize that your presence was not just about companionship, but about the balance and enrichment you provided in their life. This realization often brings them to another Stoic concept, the idea that external circumstances do not define our happiness, but our reactions to them do. They learn that their happiness or misery in relationships often stems from their reactions and behaviors, and this insight is a powerful step towards emotional independence and maturity. After deep self-reflection stirs a new understanding within them, a powerful and almost irresistible urge emerges, the urge to pursue you. This isn't just a simple desire to have you back in their life. It's a driven, intense need to reconnect and correct the mistakes they've now recognized. It's as if the clarity gained from their introspection has lit a fire, a compelling call to action to reclaim what was lost, but with a newfound respect and appreciation for your worth. In Stoic terms, this urge can be likened to the concept of amor fati, or the love of one's fate. While initially, it may seem counterintuitive to link pursuing someone to accepting one's fate. It's about embracing the entire spectrum of experiences, both the loss and the effort to regain, all as parts of a larger, necessary journey in their personal growth. They come to understand that each step, including the pain of losing you and the drive to win you back, is essential in their development as a more thoughtful, committed individual. This phase of pursuit is crucial because it transforms their earlier passivity or neglect into active engagement. They are no longer taking the back seat in their relationships, expecting things to remain constant without effort. Instead, they're propelled into action, eager to show they can change and are willing to work for the relationship. This isn't about reclaiming a comfort zone, it's about stepping out of it, demonstrating through their actions what they've learned from their reflections. Moreover, this urge to pursue you is deeply infused with a newfound respect for your autonomy and qualities. They realize that any attempt to reconnect must honor your independence and the personal boundaries you've set by stepping away. This realization aligns with the Stoic emphasis on respecting the natural order and recognizing what is within our control and what is not. They understand now that they cannot control your decision to return, but they can control their approach, making it one of humility, sincerity, and commitment. The dynamic here shifts from one of taking to giving, from expecting to appreciating. As they reach out to you, their actions are infused with the lessons learned from Stoic teachings. The importance of virtuous living, of being proactive in one's duties, and of cherishing the human connections we have, not out of neediness, but out of mutual respect and love. This pursuit is therefore not merely a reaction to emptiness or curiosity. It is a proactive, thoughtful decision that marks a significant growth in their character. This stage ultimately tests their commitment to their insights and whether their self-reflection will translate into lasting change. It's a period marked not only by the desire to regain what was lost, but also by the desire to improve themselves, which is perhaps the most profound pursuit of all. When you take the step back and leave a void in their lives, they initially might feel a brief moment of relief. This relief comes from the sudden drop in tension, the disappearance of daily expectations, and perhaps a perceived freedom from the responsibilities of maintaining the relationship. However, this fleeting sense of relief quickly gives way to a deeper, more enduring emotion: regret. This isn't the simple regret of a missed opportunity. It's the profound regret of realizing the true value of what was lost. And it underscores a battle within themselves between appreciating solitude and longing for the connection they took for granted. In Stoic philosophy, this battle between relief and regret mirrors the struggle between understanding what we can control and lamenting over what we cannot. The initial relief might feel like a return to a state of independence, which is a value Stoics uphold. Yet, the Stoics also teach us the importance of community and relationships as grounds for practicing virtues like kindness, understanding, and patience. This creates a complex dynamic. Here they must reconcile their initial feelings of freedom with the realization that they may have undervalued the relationship and your presence in their lives. As they navigate this in a conflict, they are confronted with the Stoic concept of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, which encourages anticipation of potential losses to diminish the impact of those losses when they occur. Unfortunately, without this preparation, the shock and weight of regret are more intense, pushing them to reflect on what could have been done differently. This regret is a harsh teacher, but an effective one, providing clear lessons on the importance of mindfulness and appreciation in relationships. Moreover, this tug-of-war between relief and regret forces them to evaluate their priorities and values. They must decide what is more important: the freedom they thought they desired, or the companionship they now realize they've lost. This decision-making process is a significant moment of growth, emphasizing the Stoic principle that true freedom comes from within freedom from passions, undue desires and dependencies, not from the absence of people who care for us. As they delve deeper into these feelings, they learn to embrace the Stoic virtue of apatheia, or freedom from disturbance by negative emotions. They start to understand that the regret they feel can be channeled into positive actions, like reaching out to mend things or changing their approach to relationships in the future. This is not about undoing the past, but about learning from it and moving forward with greater wisdom and emotional resilience. At this stage, the battle between relief and regret thus becomes a pivotal point in their personal development. It's where they learn the hard truth about the delicate balance between independence and interdependence in human relationships, and the importance of valuing and nurturing connections while they exist, not just in retrospect. Once the initial waves of regret begin to settle, a new strategy often emerges, a desire to play the game. This is not a straightforward pursuit, but a nuanced dance of push and pull, where they may attempt to regain some semblance of control or test the waters to see if they can entice you back without fully exposing their vulnerabilities. They might act indifferent or even appear uninterested, hoping to elicit a reaction from you to see if you still care. This tactical maneuvering is a natural response for many who find themselves in this tumultuous emotional landscape, caught between regret and a fear of outright rejection. From a Stoic perspective, this phase reflects a departure from the ideal of authenticity and virtue. Stoicism would caution against such games, as they stem from a place of deceit and manipulation, qualities that undermine true wisdom and virtue. The Stoics teach us the importance of directness and sincerity in our actions. They encourage living in accordance with nature, which in human terms translates to embracing honest and straightforward communication. When they choose to play these games, they are essentially straying from these Stoic ideals, letting fear and pride dictate their actions instead of reason and virtue. This desire to play the game is essentially a test of their Stoic resilience. Are they able to confront the situation with honesty and integrity, or do they revert to manipulation to protect their ego? This is a critical moment of choice, where Stoic teachings could guide them toward more genuine interactions. Stoicism would advise them to consider the virtuous path, engaging in actions that reflect their true intentions and feelings, without resorting to games that may complicate the situation further. Moreover, this phase is an opportunity for them to practice the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within their control, how they choose to act and react, rather than attempting to control your responses or feelings which are outside their power. The games we play are often attempts to avoid dealing directly with our fears and insecurities. By choosing a straightforward approach, they would not only align more closely with Stoic virtues, but might also find greater peace and clarity in the situation. After the interplay of tactics and emotional maneuvering comes the crushing weight of silence. This silence isn't just an absence of sound, it's a profound void where your presence used to be, a stark reminder of the depth of the connection now missing. As they experience this silence, it becomes a heavy, palpable force, filling each day and each moment with a sense of loss and emptiness. This isn't the silence of peace, but a silence that screams, echoing through the spaces where laughter, conversation, and warmth once resided. From a Stoic viewpoint, this silence can be seen as an opportunity, a teacher of sorts. Stoicism teaches the importance of being comfortable with one's own thoughts, of facing the internal void without flinching. This practice is about finding tranquility, not by filling every silence with noise, but by embracing silence as a moment to reflect, to grow, and to understand oneself better. For them, the silence that follows your departure serves as a crucial test. Can they find contentment alone, or does the absence drive them to distraction? This period of silence forces a confrontation with their inner self that many may avoid under normal circumstances. It asks them if they can be truly self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency isn't about being isolated or emotionally disconnected, but about finding a state of contentment that doesn't depend on external validations or presence. It challenges them to derive their worth not from the company they keep, but from the virtues they practice and the life they lead according to Stoic principles. Moreover, the crushing weight of this silence highlights another Stoic concept, the idea that we should not fear loss or absence, but rather see it as part of the natural urban flow of life. Everything is transient, and our attachments, while natural, should not control us or our emotions to the point of despair. This phase of silence is their moment to apply this teaching, to use the absence, not as a source of pain, but as a space for cultivating personal resilience and emotional independence in navigating through the silence. They have the opportunity to redefine their understanding of relationships and attachment. Stoicism doesn't advocate for the absence of relationships, but suggests that we should enjoy them without becoming dependent on them, that we should love without clinging and engage without becoming entangled in the threads of expectation and demand. The silence thus becomes a canvas on which they can paint a new picture of who they are and how they relate to others, guided by the Stoic ideals of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. As the echo of silence grows louder, a pivotal emotion begins to surface, one that fundamentally shifts their perspective and actions: fear. This isn't just any fear, it's the deep-seated fear that they may have lost you for good. This realization dawns on them, not gradually, but in sudden, stark awareness, filling them with anxiety and an urgent need to mend what might be irretrievably broken. They fear not just the permanence of your absence, but also the possibility that you have moved on to a life that perhaps is happier and more fulfilling without them. This fear is profound because it confronts them with their vulnerability and the real possibility of loss, driving them to act, to reach out, to try to bridge the gap that silence has only widened. In the context of Stoicism, this fear represents a departure from the ideal of rational control over one's emotions and desires. Stoicism teaches us to face our fears with a sense of detachment, understanding that most of what we fear is outside our control, including the actions and feelings of others. However, in this intense moment of fear, they experience the very human side of attachments, highlighting a crucial area for Stoic practice: the confrontation with and management of fear itself. Stoic philosophy would guide them to use this fear, not as a spur to desperate actions, but as a moment for deep reflection on their dependencies and attachments. It encourages an examination of whether their fear is based on true loss of something good, or the bruising of ego, or perhaps a realization of their past complacency in the relationship. By dissecting this fear, they can begin to apply the Stoic principle of focusing only on those aspects of the situation within their control, such as their own actions and attitudes, rather than the outcome of their attempts to reconnect with you. Moreover, this fear that brings them back can be transformed into a positive force, a catalyst for genuine change. It can push them to reevaluate how they view relationships and what they value in them. They are prompted to consider the Stoic virtues of courage, honesty, and commitment, virtues that may have been lacking or untested in their interactions with you previously. They might reach out, driven by fear, but through a Stoic lens, this reaching out can become an exercise, an opportunity to practice honesty in expressing their feelings and vulnerabilities, and a test of their commitment to change and improvement. As they act on their fear of losing you forever, they also confront another Stoic test: accepting whatever outcome arises. They learn to prepare themselves for any response from you, understanding that they cannot control it and must accept it with equanimity. This is the essence of Stoic acceptance, embracing whatever life presents after doing one's best in accordance with virtue. Thank you for joining me today on this deep dive into the complexities of stepping back and the powerful emotional journey it can ignite. Remember, in the silence of absence, the lessons are loud and the growth is profound. If you're curious about further exploring the Stoic path to handling relationships and emotions, check out the video popping up on your screen now. We delve even deeper into how Stoicism can transform not just your personal connections, but your entire approach to life's challenges.